I stepped into the yoga studio, sunlight streaming through the tall windows, warming the polished wooden floor. My hands shook slightly as I gripped my mat, heart hammering against my ribs. Every eye seemed to pierce me, every movement magnified under the collective gaze. I tried to square my shoulders, lift my chin, but the awareness of every whisper, every glance weighed on me like lead. As I bent into my first pose, a ripple of snickers ran through the room. Younger women, fit and graceful, exchanged glances, trying to hide their amusement. The instructor's smirk was barely concealed, and I felt it like a knife twisting inside me. My arms trembled, my legs quivered, and the laughter echoed, distant at first, then sharp, cutting straight into my confidence. The scent of essential oils mingled with faint sweat in the air, heavy and suffocating, as if it amplified my failure. I tried to steady myself, to breathe through it, but then I heard a whispered comment, sharp and cruel. Maybe she shouldn't be here. My face burned hot, my stomach knotted, and the room seemed to spin. I focused on my pose, tried to drown out the giggles that grew louder, slicing through me like invisible blades. And then the inevitable happened. I stumbled, my mat slipping beneath me with a loud thud, the sound echoing like a spotlight on my humiliation. I caught glimpses of phones angled in my direction, capturing the moment I wanted to vanish from memory. My carefully chosen outfit suddenly felt wrong, my hair too frizzy, my body too stiff, every imperfection magnified in the mirrored walls. The instructor, loud and deliberate, let a sarcastic remark slip. Well, age and flexibility don't always mix, do they? The words clung to me, coated in ridicule, and I could hear the suppressed laughter ripple through the room. I gathered my belongings, avoiding every gaze, but the shame clung to me, a suffocating weight. My heart pounded so fiercely I could almost hear it over the studio's quiet. I forced my legs into the hall, feeling every second stretch as if it would last forever. I kept my composure outwardly, but inside I was trembling, holding back tears, tasting the bitterness of humiliation. Driving home, the images replayed relentlessly. Every snicker, every pointed glance, every mocking expression etched itself into my memory. My chest ached, my hands gripped the steering wheel until my knuckles whitened, and beneath the sting, a fire ignited, a quiet, fierce promise to myself. I would never feel this powerless again. I would reclaim my dignity, my presence, and when the time came, they would see the woman they laughed at rise above them, unstoppable and unbroken. I remember being a little girl, small and quiet, always standing in the background while other kids laughed and took the spotlight. My accomplishments, good grades, art projects, winning debates, were always minimized, dismissed as nothing special. I learned early that my victories could be invisible, that the world didn't hand recognition freely. Growing up in a small town, I mastered the art of hiding my feelings, swallowing humiliation silently so no one could see how much it hurt. I became invisible by necessity, learning to endure whispers, sideways glances, and quiet ridicule without retaliation. My first job as a fitness instructor ended before it even began. A colleague, younger, flashier, and jealous, took credit for a program I had designed from scratch. The manager praised her, never realizing who had built it. I left silently, the bitterness of injustice gnawing at me, my confidence fractured, but not destroyed. I can still hear my mother's voice in my head, steady and unwavering. They will never see your worth until you show it. Those words became a quiet mantra, echoing in the corners of every embarrassment, every moment I was overlooked. I flash back to my first attempt at yoga years ago, awkward, stiff, and clumsy. I fell, I wobbled, I felt every eye on me as if they were dissecting my every flaw. That humiliation stayed with me, a shadow of inadequacy that I carried silently. Divorce added another layer of betrayal. Friends whispered doubts, subtly questioning my ambitions, my intelligence, even my resilience. Their doubt felt like a second betrayal, confirming the old familiar pain of being underestimated. I opened old journals, the pages yellowed and filled with dreams I had almost abandoned. Dreams of teaching, of helping others find strength and confidence, of turning shame into power. Reading my own words, I felt the spark of ambition that had never truly died. A lingering scar remained from a community event where I had been mocked publicly, humiliated in front of strangers who barely knew me. The memory never left, a constant reminder of how easily people could reduce me to laughter. And now, standing in that yoga studio, I connected this latest humiliation to a lifetime of being underestimated, dismissed, ignored. It was not just a single moment, it was decades of invisible battles. I made a vow then, quietly but with absolute clarity. I would transform myself not just physically, but socially, emotionally, strategically. I would claim authority, respect, and recognition, not just for a moment, but permanently. I would rise, and when I did, no one would ever have the power to mock me again. I started attending yoga classes in secret, slipping into the back rows where no one would notice me. I watched every instructor's movement, every subtle shift in posture, the way their eyes scanned the room, the tone of their voice. I took notes meticulously, not just on the poses, but on the confidence they carried, the way they commanded respect without raising their voice. At home, I practiced in front of mirrors, muscles screaming, joints aching, but I refused to stop. I pushed myself harder than ever before, tracing every motion until it was precise, fluid, undeniable. Pain became fuel, exhaustion became focus, and every trembling moment was transformed into determination. I spent countless nights poring over certifications, studying anatomy, psychology, teaching methods, dissecting every detail that could make me better, stronger, smarter. I wanted mastery that no one could undermine, a knowledge that would be indisputable. Subtle sabotage began to creep in. Former classmates left dismissive comments online, hinting at my inability, mocking my progress. I didn't respond, not yet. I observed, cataloged, and let their doubts sharpen my resolve. Workshops became proving grounds. Younger instructors, fit and agile, challenged me directly, questioning my methods, testing my patience. I held my composure, absorbing every insult, every critique, transforming them into lessons, letting frustration mold me into something sharper, more capable. I started a small blog, anonymously at first, sharing tips, sequences, insights. Slowly, followers trickled in, unaware of who I truly was, just drawn to the guidance, the clarity, the authority in my words. Each comment, each shared post became a silent victory against the shame I had carried for so long. Every public failure, every remembered humiliation no longer crushed me. It fueled a meticulous plan, turning embarrassment into strategy. I dissected every moment I had been mocked, every misstep, every glance, plotting how I would rise above, how I would reverse the power dynamic. I developed a signature style of yoga, empowering, inclusive, deliberate. It was designed to subtly highlight skill, confidence, and command, drawing attention to my expertise while exposing the flaws of arrogance in others. It was not just a practice, it was a statement. Networking became key. I reached out to local wellness centers, offering insight, sharing knowledge, connecting with those who valued dedication over vanity. Allies began to form around me, unseen but crucial, validating my growing reputation. Every session, every practice became an internal battlefield. Humility clashed with ambition, fear with vengeance, every heartbeat a drum of rising intensity. I visualized the moment I would walk into that studio where laughter had once pierced me and stand with unwavering confidence, poised, unshakable, finally commanding the respect I had earned. One evening, I received a message that would change everything. Evelyn, a respected mentor in the yoga community, had read my blog. She recognized the hours of practice, the resilience I had poured into every word and every post. Her message was simple, but it carried weight. She saw my talent, my potential, and she believed in it. She offered me a position to teach a beginner's class at a well-known studio downtown. My heart raced, a mix of excitement and fear. This was the first real acknowledgement I had ever received, a tangible door opening after years of silent struggle. Then the phone rang. It was a former classmate, her tone sharp, her words designed to unsettle. "Just don't embarrass yourself again." Her warning sparked something unexpected inside me, a thrill of controlled defiance. Every nerve in my body tingled with anticipation. At the studio, the old instructor mentioned me casually to another colleague, a mocking undertone in her voice that only fueled my determination. She had no idea that the woman she had laughed at was no longer the same. During a workshop, I observed a younger instructor mishandle a class, students confused, postures unsafe. I saw the cracks in their authority, the subtle insecurities I had once endured being mirrored back at them. It was a revelation. My humiliation had given me insight into every student's vulnerability. Then came the breakthrough. I mastered a challenging sequence I had struggled with for months. Every movement flowed seamlessly, precise, and confident. Standing in front of the mirror, I saw not just skill, but power radiating from within. Aunty. Emotionally, the transformation was profound. The anger, the shame, the years of being laughed at, they had all become fuel. I realized I could channel every painful memory into leadership, into empathy, into a presence that demanded respect. I set a personal ultimatum. Within 3 months, I would teach in that very studio, on my terms. Every detail mattered, the timing, the posture, the authority in my voice. Oh, I rehearsed my entrance mentally, imagining each skeptical glance from those who had mocked me, visualizing it turning into awe. Calm, commanding, unshakable, that would be me. Every step, every gesture, every breath was meticulously prepared for the moment my past humiliation would meet my present power. The day arrived. I stepped into the studio, my mat rolled under my arm, shoulders squared, posture poised. Certified, prepared, and unshakable, I felt every eye on me. Not with ridicule this time, but with curiosity, expectation, and an unspoken challenge. Students recognized me from my blogs and social media posts. Whispers of admiration threaded through the room, subtle but palpable, brushing against my ears like a soft wind of validation. The old instructor was there, her usual smirk faltering, replaced by a flicker of uncertainty. She hadn't expected me to rise, hadn't imagined I would come back transformed. I began teaching, guiding them through a complex sequence I had perfected over months of private practice. Each posture correction was precise, each instruction calm but authoritative. My movements were fluid, every gesture deliberate, every breath measured, radiating confidence. One student, smiling with relief and awe, said loudly, "You make this so much easier to follow." The comment pierced the room. I caught the old instructor's eyes, her envy thinly veiled, her composure slipping ever so slightly. I introduced innovative techniques, sequences that challenged tradition but enhanced the students' understanding. Each move subtly demonstrated my expertise, my mastery, outperforming the methods of the instructor who had once laughed at me. The studio owner approached, praising the clarity and energy of my class, offering me permanent schedule slots. The power balance shifted silently but unmistakably, my authority now undeniable. During a public demonstration, I executed a difficult pose I had once failed at and been mocked for. The audience erupted into applause, the sound swelling through the studio like a tide washing away my past humiliation. Videos and posts from students went viral, framing me as the yoga comeback story. Every share, every comment, every like was a testament to the transformation I had earned, a digital vindication of every hour of sweat, pain, and perseverance. Finally, I met the old instructor's eyes, calm, composed, victorious. She understood without words that I had claimed what she never could: respect, mastery, and dignity. Wine, Later, I mentored a younger student, passing on the lesson that had cost me decades to learn. Resilience, preparation, and unwavering focus turn ridicule into triumph, humiliation into power. Walking through the studio now, I feel a quiet satisfaction settle deep in my chest. Every glance, every nod from students, every whispered word of respect reminds me that I am no longer invisible. I am admired. I am in control. The old instructor steps aside, her movements careful, almost reluctant, acknowledging my skill without a word. Her smirk has vanished, replaced by grudging recognition. Wise, my blog, once a small, anonymous outlet, has grown exponentially. Followers share my story, comment on my methods, send messages about their own experiences with ridicule. My journey inspires others, a beacon for those who have been underestimated, dismissed, or mocked. I reflect on the path I've walked, the emotional toll of this revenge, and realize that patience, composure, and dignity were my true weapons all along. The humiliation I endured only sharpened my focus, and every calculated step led me here. Students approach me for private sessions, seeking guidance, trust, and encouragement. Their admiration deepens my impact, reminding me that transformation is contagious, that empowerment can ripple outward. I host a charity yoga event, drawing attention, respect, and genuine community support. My reputation solidifies not through arrogance, but through mastery and generosity, leaving no room for doubt. Financial independence follows, along with recognition in local wellness circles. The humiliation that once defined me has become a distant memory, a lesson, a fuel for growth rather than a chain. I reconcile with the old wounds of inadequacy, no longer tethered to past judgment. Each scar now tells a story of resilience, strategy, and earned authority. I journal my journey, recording every lesson, every triumph, every strategy that carried me from mockery to mastery. These pages are a testament to perseverance and self-worth. The sense of closure is profound. I am no longer the woman laughed at in that sunlit studio. I am the instructor, the leader, the example. Every step I take carries authority. Every word commands attention. I have risen, and in rising, I have claimed the life that was always mine to shape. I face the camera, soft sunlight spilling across the studio, warm and golden, brushing across the mats and walls. My voice is calm but charged with emotion as I begin to speak. Every word deliberate, every pause weighted with meaning. I recount the humiliation, the laughter, the whispered comments, the shaking hands and trembling confidence. I speak of the silent nights spent practicing alone, the meticulous path I carved to reclaim respect, the hours when doubt was my only companion. I emphasize a truth I have lived. Being underestimated is never weakness. It can become your greatest weapon if you channel it, if you let it ignite determination instead of despair. I share the lessons I've learned: patience, preparation, and strategic confidence. Every step, every setback, every challenge was a brick in the foundation of who I have become. Flashbacks flicker across my mind. The laughter in the studio that once crushed me, the long hours of solo practice where pain became power, and the final demonstration where mastery silenced every doubter. Each memory sharpens the contrast between then and now. I reflect on empowerment. True revenge is not cruelty. It is mastery, self-worth, and helping others rise with you. The strength I wield is tempered with empathy, a lesson I now pass on through guidance, teaching, and example. I smile knowingly, meeting the camera's gaze, connecting directly with viewers as if they are sitting beside me. My triumph is shared, not hoarded, and it resonates through every glance and gesture. If you've ever been laughed at, underestimated, or overlooked, I say softly but firmly, your time is coming. Own your story. Transform your pain into power, your humiliation into mastery. I leave a subtle teaser for what comes next. New challenges, new students, continued growth. The journey is not over. It evolves, and so do I. The scene fades with gentle music, lingering on the studio bathed in sunlight, the mats empty, yet resonating with quiet triumph. The camera holds on my serene expression, the proof of resilience, strategy, and earned respect shining in every line of my face.